Hello, accountability buddies. This is Les, and less is more healthy, and it's another episode where I am at the Willows. I have no idea if you can identify the Willows from where I'm parked. Sometimes I think a lot of these parking lots all look the same. And, they're parking lots. Of course they look the same. So it is Tuesday, and I initially recorded this yesterday, but the audio was trash because I attempted to record while driving. And the microphone on this camera that I have connected to me just picks up everything. It's better when I'm parked. It's okay. It does all right. But when I'm driving, it picks up everything. And then I forgot to connect the microphone to the camera, so it didn't record the first version. And then the second version was in a super urban environment. And driving in that particular urban environment is just, it's like, it's driving where there are no rules and people don't care. The state of my car, as it is now, versus when I first started working there, it's been 2 years. Every corner of this car has been love tapped by another vehicle. There are scratches and gouges on all four corners of this. The back bumper 2 weeks ago was bumped into hard enough that it crackled the paint on the bumper. There are door dents all over it. And, I take care so I don't hit other people's cars. So they're not from me. They're from people just swinging open their cars wildly. It's just, and people getting out of parking spots. And now that I'm in a paid lot for work, it's a little less bad than it was. But the four corners, the rear bumper thing happened like 2 weeks ago, if that. Not even, I noticed it a week and a half ago. So it was like 2 weeks ago that it happened. And they hit it hard. It's just bananas. The parking in that city is bananas. Driving in that city is bananas. It's worse than driving sometimes in Boston when there's high traffic. People will just pull out in front of you. They don't see you. They're on their phones. They're taking lefts on reds. There's like one spot in the city where there's a sign that says left turn permitted on red after a stop. There's one sign. One. And people have taken that to mean that you can make a left on a red everywhere in that city. It is so dangerous to drive in that city. I've been like nearly hit in the vehicle multiple times. I hate driving in that city. I'm hoping that the MBTA and Keolis get their thumbs out of their butt and they finish the commuter rail station sooner rather than later, so I can go back to riding my bike to the train station, taking the train to work. But apparently that's not going to happen for 2 years. It's bananas, just bananas. And these developers can get an entire apartment building up in 9 months, but the MBTA cannot fix the train station for like 2 or 3 years. Anyway, enough ranting about the state of things. I'm going to explain why I took a rest day yesterday. First off, we were hanging the show again. It's the last day of hanging the show. And, that's always, again, like I've mentioned it before, it's a super physical thing. I'm on my feet all day. I'm walking, I'm moving and all of that. I'm not hanging the show today. I have a couple of little pieces here and there that will need to be finished. But most of those are already pre-hung. And the other one is it's using sticky tape to hang it onto the wall. I'm using, alien tape / nano tape, whatever you want to call it. Stuff is great. It's probably going to rip a hole in the wall, but we'll see. And then I've got to run some errands before work here, but I took a rest day yesterday, because I did something ill-advised. And I come by doing ill-advised things with sporting equipment naturally. My grandmother, when she was about my age now, my brother and I used to ride. My grandparents had a hill driveway, and they had it paved when I was a kid. And we used to ride Tonka trucks. We used to sit on the little Tonka truck. We had a couple of like station wagons that my grandmother picked up at a yard sale, and these were metal. You'd sit on it and you'd ride it down the hill. Great fun. When I got a little older, we did that with skateboards. Also great fun. A little faster, a little more dangerous. There's a little lip at the end of the driveway, so we were able to stop ourselves, put our feet down, keep it slow. And when my grandmother was about 46, 47 years old, she wasn't 50 yet, decided she wanted to test this out. And, we were probably 7 or 8 years old, and Grandma was like, let me have the skateboard. She sat on that skateboard and she rode down that hill, but she didn't know how to stop herself because she'd never skated before. And she shot down that hill as fast as she could go and shot across the road and into the ditch where she went ass over tea kettle, and got herself a gnarly road rash all along her right arm, on her right leg. She went rolling, and my dad came out and saw the tail end. Like, we saw her like shoot across the road and then go for a roll. My little brother, like, we immediately like started running. My little brother went and got my dad. My dad was like immediately yelling at us, like, why would you let your grandmother do this? Why would you give her the skateboard? And we're like, have you ever tried to tell Graham no? And my dad just like stopped dead, and he was like, yeah, you're right. You can't tell her no. Coming by this, I think genetically, and also nature versus nurture, naturally through nurture, and witnessing, a woman older just do what she wanted. My grandmother and grandpa, when I was very little, younger than the 6 or 7, they bought a pair of Honda mopeds, and they traveled around on those. They had a great time. But anyway, so I come by doing stupid stuff and adventurous things, I think, kind of naturally. So when I first got the bike out, I took it for a spin, and I headed over to the bike part, and it happened to be empty on that day. So, I just was like, all right, I'm going to test taking the bike on the ramps, and did some like swoopy, swirly little ramp work, going up the ramps. It's good cardio, I told myself. No jumps, cause, it's a 700cc wheel, not the right size, not the right tire or wheel for jumps or anything like it. So, I mean, like, you can certainly go on and off curbs with the tires and wheel set that I have on it, because it is a commuter bike. I do have sturdy wheels on it. But, so I decided I was going to head back over, on Sunday, and as part of towards the end of my ride, I probably hit like 7 miles of that part. Headed to the skate park, and again, it was dead empty, no one there, Mother's Day. And, I decided I'm going to ride some of the ramps and the half pipes and the like mini ramps. So I'm doing that and, getting up, working up more of a sweat and getting the cardio going. And then there's this one half pipe that is a little short for a bike, or for my bike. And so I hit it, and I realized halfway through that I had hit it too high. Instead of braking, I went for it. I sent it. And I thought I had corrected myself enough that I was going to come off of it at the right height. And I did not. I came off of it a little too high and at the wrong angle. And I lost control of the bike, because the tires that I've got on it are grippy tires for pavement, for tarmac, pavement, asphalt, whatever you want to call it. And like gravel. That's what they're made for. They're a little wider than a true road tire. They're a mixed use tire. They're comfortable, but they're not particularly grippy, especially if you are not at a good angle. And that front tire went out from underneath me, and I fell on my butt. Hard. And the skate park is poured concrete. And I hit hard, and I hit on my elbow, my hip, and my shoulder. And it hurt. It was more my pride was hurt at that point. But when I got up, I was like, okay, I'm all right. The bike's okay. Things look all right. My derailleur's all right. It's all good. Derailleur might not be totally all. I think I might have bent the hanger again. So I got to rebend that back into shape. So, anyway, the end of it is that I woke up yesterday stiff as heck, and sore. I clearly have some bruising, especially on my hip, which is, I think, I know that's where I primarily hit. My shoulder's also pretty sore because, when you fall, your joints get it really hard. So, my hip hit and then my elbow hit, which jammed, my arm up into the shoulder. So that's all pretty sore. And so I took a rest day yesterday because I beat myself up on Sunday. And to be fair, I'm not that hurt. I've got a little bit of bruising. I could have been much more badly hurt. This is not the first fall I've had on the bike. I was attempting a track stand, the other day, and the track stand is when you are sitting on or standing on the bike and not moving and just sort of balancing it with your body. And there's this intersection, in my city where there are 5 roads that come into one. It's in a residential section. And this lady and I were at the same intersection. We were waiting for the cars to kind of come through, and they were going straight, and we were both headed down to the beach. And, I lost control. I lost my balance, and I could not, at that point I was still getting accustomed to those flat pedals and the pins in them. And I could not get my feet slid off because you can't slide off of them. And I'm so accustomed to pedals that you slide your feet off of them. Because I've always ridden with cage pedals that, they have a metal cage around the inner bushings and bearings. And you can slide your feet off sideways. With these flat pedals with pins, you cannot slide your feet off of them with the pins. The pins just grip into the rubber of my shoes so tightly I couldn't slide my feet off. And so I flopped over. And I was surprised and shocked, and the woman who saw me fall on my butt was also surprised and shocked. And she was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I just lost my balance because I was trying to be on the bike and not move." So I felt really stupid. And this time I felt even stupider because I know better than to take my bike on a ramp. So yeah, I won't be doing that again. There's a reason, BMX bikes have the tires they have on them and all of that stuff. And, so anyway, that's my story. That's why I took a rest day yesterday. And I'm still paying for it. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your subscriptions. I appreciate the comments and the thumbs up and all of that. It really does help me stay motivated and on target for continuing my recovery efforts with type 2 diabetes. And with that, I thank you for tuning in.